I am a musician, I am artist visual, I am journalist, I'm not criminal. The SB1 is terrible for the immigrant people because the authority watch or see for skin, for my accent.
I volunteer in many nonprofits, and some of them work with immigrant communities. I donate to some nonprofits, and some of them work with immigrant communities. And I know that this will put a burden on some of these services because it will put people in a situation where they are not sure what they are doing is legal or illegal. Are they interacting with people that they have to report on them? And that alone is a burden that adds to any social effort in our community.
I do worry, and I do feel, fear, I guess you can say. I fear that he's going to go to work one day and he's not going to come back.
There seems to be a great deal of just fear, not only among American citizens, but among immigrants. And there seems to be I think something that's not even talked about is the U.S. citizen children of immigrants. I had 2 U.S. citizen children who committed suicide a year and a half ago.
And being a college student, I see a lot of people that look like me, and many of them, when I speak to them, they seem hopeless because they don't know if they're going to return the next semester or next year because they don't know how to pay for their college.
SB1 brings fear to the community of immigrants who are bringing their hard work and skills to the U.S.
I think SB1 will affect immigrants through fear and intimidation and a lack of trust for their fellow citizens and people around them, always wondering maybe who will be calling ICE or calling the police or whoever else behind them. I think that they will be increasingly suspicious of their fellow citizens.
No, like humans, we need to be look colors or nationalities. We are from the air planets, everyone. So this legislation is really terrible for every people that come here to escape that something dangerous in their countries.
There are times where I get really worried, like maybe when I'm in the streets walking or something like that. There are times where I feel safer in the environment that I am in, but other times I really don't.
That someone could be walking down the street and have someone come up and ask them to identify themselves, asking for their paperwork. I think it's going to have a horrible negative impact. I've been to 76 countries around the world, and I can't imagine getting singled out because of the color of my skin asking for papers.
The SB1 is terrible for the immigrant people because the authority watch or see for skin, for my accent. It's important, stop SB1.
There are different layers where it will hurt. First of all, it gives a negative image about the state, which is, we don't need any more negative image about our state. Our state is not the shining state in the union. So competing for talent from West Coast and East Coast and more progressive state will be difficult. Talented people look for a social environment that's healthy.
To me, like this whole community here in Kentucky, I mean, I've met so many wonderful people throughout this process, and I see how, you know, the community is built on all of us, not just on one of us, not just on one race.
These are kids, many of them, who they're all very hard workers, and they have honor, they have hard work. They buy houses, they buy cars, and people sell them houses, people sell them cars. They know they're not legal, some of them, but they know that they'll pay their bills.
As having a status here in the United States, my parents coming from immigrant roots, it affects just not immigrants, but it affects us as well. Saying that getting separated from our families, that's really traumatic mentally and physically, and I feel like it affects all of us. It just doesn't affect immigrants.
It means everything. Immigrants are the ones who built Kentucky. Immigrants are contributor to the state of Kentucky. They do the harder job that others won't take. The most important industry for the state is the agriculture, and they are the majority of the workers and farms.
I think they make up the backbone of our economy, our agriculture especially. I know that the hemp industry is something that is kind of the future of Kentucky right now. A lot of effort is being put into bringing the hemp industry first and foremost, even maybe medical marijuana, that sort of thing. But outside of that, tobacco, the horse business here is really strong, and that's all built upon the labor of immigrants. And I think without immigrants, Kentucky would not even be solvent right now.
How much is, I know many people, and actually I am one of these immigrants, difficult history. I have a really, really difficult history. You know, can you imagine how much? But the immigrants contribute with his job. The people try to do the best things when the people try to grow the country.
Think about just in the Highlands alone, let's scratch that. Just think about in Louisville, how many restaurants there are that they have brought their country to us. Everybody loves Vietnam Kitchen in southern Louisville. And just think about all the little places like that, the little mom and pop shops that are not corporately owned, they're owned by locals that came here from abroad, a lot of times in response to US foreign policies.
But we literally are creating, by the fear itself, Indians, Asians, Iranians. Do you think they want to come to our country right now? Do you think they want to be shamed? And we have people from Latin America, hard workers, who have really strong, they're very strong, but they still hurt.
Immigrants are what form Kentucky. They are the ones who do the jobs that not everybody wants to do. I've seen my parents struggle through giving us education, me and my brother, my sister, my other brother, giving us even food to eat.
The impact is only on the immigrant. That negative effect is for the economy, Kentucky.
You know, it requires, I think the language says that it requires so many different agencies and authorities to support federal immigration law, which is a curious beast, especially when we have a statue standing on our eastern seaboard welcoming immigrants that it doesn't say anything about their status.
Passing this bill, I mean, trying to tear not just families apart, but tear communities apart. I mean, things that have been built for years, ancestors, you know, things that our ancestors did, things that people have died over.
Americans know how special children are, and they know how kids are being harassed by other kids. But what they don't realize is how really scary it is for immigrant kids.
It will be damaging for the image of Kentucky. It will damage the economy of Kentucky. It would definitely bring it down.
For me, the compassion is very important to me.
Yeah, the negative, the SB1, is for the impact and the immigrant, because many immigrant working in horse and bourbon and tobacco. Of course, SB1 no, it's hard only for the immigrant, it's for the economy in Kentucky.
I've been a volunteer with the immigrant and refugee community through the Backside Learning Center, Churchill Downs, and Kentucky Refugee Ministries for about, off and on for about 10 years in Louisville. And I can't think what this landscape would look like without them.
And I feel happy. No matter if sometimes my heart is broken, because I know I'm to learn by myself. I can repair my heart and my feelings sometimes, but other people don't know how to do those things. It's difficult to do those things in a place where you sometimes not find the right way for to feel free and real freedom, or feel love, or feel compassionate.
Being here it's like I'm grateful because here I would get like a better education than where I was, and I'm glad to be here and still be here, and like when I was in Colombia, I didn't feel much different, but now that I like understand the difference, I'm glad that I'm here right now.
No SB1.
No SB1, no, stop.
No SB1.
No SB1.
No SB1, please.
We are
all
all
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
We are all Kentucky.